Hello viewers, I welcome you all from HLT of Tech channel, and today we will talk about managing permissions in SharePoint document libraries. Last three videos, what we saw, we first of all we saw how we can create the document libraries in SharePoint 2019. Then we worked on creating of private and public views. In my last video that I just uploaded 2 or 3 days ago, we talked about the classic views versus modern views. If you haven't seen that videos, I request you to go to my channel and watch these videos so that you may have a better understanding of my current video. Now we are going to see how we can manage permissions in SharePoint document libraries. That is a very important topic as access to your documents, right access to the right person is very important to your documents or assets that is available in the SharePoint's your SharePoint document management system. So what we are going to do, we are just let's say we have a log and supply chain department in which we have a separate site collection. uh, we have separate manager for logistics, sorry, we have a separate team of logistics and we have a separate team of supply chain. Now we want that the documents of all the logistics department sub department may be saved in one document library, and all the documents of supply chain sub department may be saved in other document library. So what we will do, we will create two document apps. First one is for logistic department and the second one is supply chain department. So what we are going to do, we are going to add two document libraries. This is a document library app. As I told you that the name must be short enough, logistics depart without space. Why? It's already defined in detail in my previous videos. I'm going to click create. Similarly, I'm going to add one more app, and this app will also be a document library, and this will be a supply chain department. Okay, so what we have done so far, we have just created two document libraries for our two different sub departments that work under a common department, that is logistics and supply chain. If I go into the newly created two sites, that is supply chain and logistics, I'm going into settings and I'm going to change the name. Logistics documents. Okay, and similarly for, if I go again into site contents and I go into another supply chain department settings, and I go into the list name, description and navigation, I will say that I will rename it as supply chain documents. Okay, and I'm going to click save. Right now what we have done, we have just renamed the newly created sites, because whenever you create a new site, it assign the URL of the name. So if you will uh, give a big name with spaces, while at the time of creation it will assign a big name with spaces to the URL. So ideally the URLs must be short and smart enough. So what we did, at the time of creation of document libraries, we give a small name without space. Okay, this thing is already told in detail in my previous videos. So what we are going to do now, we are going into site contents, and let's understand one logic. That is, this is the main site and these are the components of the main site. Okay, this is a site collection, that is logistics and supply chain, and these are the contents that are place inside a site collection. So first of all, if I go into the site information and see the site permissions here, you can see that I have assigned the log employee group to contribute into the site. So as a log manager or a member of log employee group, I can come into the site and I can contribute into the site. But what actually the contribute means? So I will go into permission levels and I will see contribute. Contribute can do these type of items, and it can also work on browse directories, self site creation. But this is a problematic statement. That is, I don't want my users to work on the site, because there is a separate department in every organization that is uh, being administrated by the information technology department that are responsible for customization of main sites. So I only want my users to interact or to come into the document library, and they can only add or delete the documents. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cancel these permissions, or I'm going to change the permissions of HLTF Tech log employee group from contribute to read. Okay, before doing that, let me show you. This is a log manager who is already logged into the log and supply chain department. Now here he has the access that he can edit the website content. He can even delete it because he has been granted the rights of log of contribution. He can even publish, or he can even change the content of your main site. That is not required by you and at any cost. So what you are going to do, you are going to change the contribute permission to the read permission. Okay, here I'm going to show you that this is the log employee group, and if I go into the manager members, you can see that the log manager is the member of this group. So I have changed the log employee user group membership from contribute to read. Now if I go, and you will notice that as soon as I will refresh it, the edit permissions will be vanished. Okay, now you can see that the user cannot edit or play with the web parts of the site. Okay, now first problem is resolved, that I am only allowing my users to come into the site and go into the components. Okay, now by default, whenever you create, whenever you assign the membership of uh, any membership to any user group, this permission is inherited till the from top till the bottom. Okay, let me show you that this was the user permission of read that was granted to the log employee group. And if I go into the site contents, and if I go into any document library or any part, let's suppose I'm going into you can say logistic department, documents, into settings, and if I see the permissions, you will see that the same permissions are inherited. This icon is showing that these permissions are inherited from the main parent site, that was HLTF Tech log and supply chain site collection. This thing is acceptable till the point you only want to grant the read permissions or the view permission to your document. But what if you want to allow all users of this log employee group to add, edit, or delete the documents, just like you want to provide a share folder? Okay, so what you are going to do in that case, you are going to stop the inheritance. One more problem statement that I want to tell you, after that we will come around a way around, is that let me show you here. It's site contents. Okay, this one, this site and this site was made for separate user groups. Okay, this was our problem statement on which we are working in this video, that we want that the users of logistic department or the sub department of logistic can only access this site or this document library, and the users of supply chain department can only access this one. Supply chain department user groups are not allowed to access the documents that are placed in logistic documents, and same for the logistic user group, that they are not allowed to go into that document library. Okay, but I have told you that whenever you will create a new site, a new document library, by default inheritance from main site will be enabled. That is, all the permission level that are defined at the site level will automatically be inherited till the lower level to every component. So in that case, what we are going to do, we are going to define the unique permissions. For defining unique permissions, it's very easy. Let's see how we can do so. We are going into the settings of logistic department. We are going into permissions, and here I'm going to click on stop inheriting permissions. Okay. After that, you will see that only now it's giving me an option to grant permissions. Now I can grant unique permissions. For doing so, what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete all unnecessary these are admins. I'm going to delete every user, unnecessary user, and now I want to give the log employee group access to this logistic department library. Okay, so I'm going to grant permission, and I'm going to write log employee, and in show options I'm going to give contribute. Okay, if you want that they can only read the documents and they can't add, edit, or delete any document, then you can grant the permission of read. But right now I'm going to allow them to add the documents, to delete the documents, or to edit the documents, because I'm granting them uh, uh, this document library as a share folder. Okay, so I'm going to give them a contribute rights. After refreshing this permission page, you will see that the log employee has been granted the permissions of contribute. Okay, now I'm going again into site contents, and I am going into supply chain documents, and I'm going to apply same settings for this one. I'm going into permissions. Similarly, I've told you that inheritance has been enabled. I have to stop it, and after stopping it, what we are going to do, we are going to delete all the users permissions that were inherited from the top, and now we are going to assign unique permissions. So this one, this user group was of supply chain documents, and for supply chain department we have a user group of supply chain department in which all the users of supply chain department are members. So I'm going to grant this user group the permissions of supply chain department, the permissions of contribute to this document library. So in this way, what we have done, I'm going to refresh it, then I'm going to tell you, okay, this one is added. Now I'm going into site contents. Now what we have done so far, we created two document libraries, we renamed them, and then we change their user permission architecture from inheritance to unique permission model. And now the problem has been resolved, that the logistic department users will access only this document site library, and the users of supply chain department will access this document library, and they cannot access their other document library. Okay, so I think it's clear to all of you. Now if I go to in logistic department, I'm going okay, what I'm going to do, one last thing as an admin, I'm going into logistic documents settings, and I'm going to copy this URL of this navigation link, and I'm going again into logistic document, and I'm going to add here. Okay, I'm going to logistic department, edit, control A, control V. Okay, and similarly I'm going to do it for supply chain department. What I'm going to do, what I'm doing, I'm just giving the navigation links for my users to just click and go into their desired destination. I'm going to copy it, I'm going to edit links, I'm going to add a link, text to display, supply chain documents, address, control V, copy paste. Okay, and I'm going to save it. Fine. Now these two document navigation links are now available here, and I'm going into login as a manager. I'm going to refresh this page, and you can see that logistic department is appearing here only. But if you see here, these two are appearing here because I'm logging it as an admin, and as a log manager, when I have login, I can see only the logistic department, and similarly I cannot go into the document library of supply chain department. Similarly, if I want to go from a way around, I cannot go. So all ways to access that document library is blocked for me. Similarly, I can if I know the URL, let's say I know the URL of this uh, position, sorry, copy, and if I go and paste it here as a new navigation link that normally hackers do, wonderful, it will not allow me because this site hasn't been shared with me. If even I know the URL of this document library, of which I am not authorized to do go so, I cannot go so. This is the beauty of Microsoft SharePoint in handling the security permissions. Similarly, let me show you one more demonstration. I will log in as a uh, now I will log in as a supply chain department user, and I will verify whether log department site is visible for me or not. Copy, okay, SC manager, supply chain manager, SCMGR, entering the password. After entering the password, let me verify whether I can go where I can go, where it will allow me to go. So Okay, fine. It's allowing me to go into the supply chain department, but you are noticing that no navigation links are appearing here. And similarly, if I go and want to go on the main site, it's not allowing me to do so. Why? Because on main site, I have not allowed this user group of which it is a member. Here you can see to go on the main site. So quickly, what we will do, we will go into logistics and supply chain department as an admin, and we are going into site information, view all site settings and site permissions, and I'm going to grant permission to this group. Sorry, I'm not going to create a group, I'm going to grant permission. Sorry, wrong click, grant permission. And that was a supply chain department group. Okay, and sorry, what I've done, I have granted it permission of supply chain department, and it has automatically, when I don't assign any type of option, then it will go and give it a by default membership of edit supply chain members edit group. But if I want to add some uh, user groups here, what I'm going to do, site permissions, advanced permission settings, there are these two ways through which you can go to this page. Grant permission, and here you will write supply chain. At least 3 words are necessary for propagating from your active directory. Show options, and here I am going to give it read permission because this permission is granting just to access the main site page. I don't want this user group to contribute here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going here, I'm going to verify it that whether it will allow me to go there or not. Yes, now it will allow me to go to the main site, and here you can see that I am logging it as a supply chain department user. Yeah, you have noticed that log documents are not no more visible to me, and in this way I can assign different document libraries with the different permission on the user groups. So this was all about this video. If you have any query regarding the user permissions or access level, I request you to write it in the comment box. I will be excited, I will be very excited to help you up to the best of my knowledge. And guys, please also subscribe my channel to continue watching more videos. I thank you all.